Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks for joining me. Today I get to share with you part 1 of my 10 cards I'm making with the Spellbinders card kit of the month for June 2019. Can you believe it's June? Half of the year is gone. My goodness. So we're going to use the stamp set. If you missed the unboxing, I'll link it at the end of the video if you want to check out everything that comes in this month's kit. But we're going to start off by making a sweet card. I'm going over a piece of the gold cardstock with my anti-static powder tool and taking the candy stick. This could be used as a straw also. There's a little lemonade jar that you could add your little straw to, but I'm going to use it as a candy stick. I'm stamping that twice on the gold cardstock with Versamark ink, and then I'm taking the lollipop top or the piece of candy here. I'm going to stamp it on this pattern paper in the pink area and then also in the very top blue area. For the candy sticks, I'm going to go over the stamped images with my white embossing powder, and then for my little piece of candy, I'm going to go over that with gold embossing powder. I love these colors and I think gold complements them very well, especially when you have the little gold detail in the pattern paper. Okay, using my heat gun, I'm going to go ahead and melt all these images, and once they're heat set, I'm going to use my scissors and fussy cut each one of my elements out. Okay, using the same pattern paper we used for our candy tops, I trimmed down a panel that was slightly smaller than my card base. I just added my double-sided tape behind here. We're going to go ahead and place this on an A2 size card base. I wanted the blue area towards the top. I thought it was really pretty. Now I'm going to tone down that pattern paper using the same size panel I trimmed down using the vellum that came with this month's kit. I'm gluing it down over, I'm just adding dots of glue over the solid O's, and then we'll just place this right over the top. You can still see the pattern behind it, but it just tones it down a little bit. It gives it a real soft look. Now we're going to make our little lollipops. So I'm adding a little bit of glue to the very top of my candy stick, adding our pink one here, and then we'll do the same with our blue. Lovely. Now these are going to go crisscrossed on our panel here. I'm going to add some foam tape behind each one of these, and then for the top one here I added didn't add it in the middle section. This way I can overlap them and they're the same level. Once I'm happy with the placement, we're going to add our sentiment. Now this sentiment is part of the die cut pack. It's also an add-on, and I'll list it down below in case you guys are interested, but lots in here and there's such fun images. I was going to add some sequins, but I thought this was a lot going on here and I love the outcome just the way it is. So that finishes that card. Now for card number 2, I'm going to use the little heart die, and this little heart creates some real fun glasses, but I'm not going to use it as glasses. I'm going to use it as an embellishment. So I die cut it out with the gold cardstock, and then I'm going to use this beautiful pattern paper. This was so gorgeous. This card was very simple, but I just love that pattern paper. I thought it was just beautiful. Using the pattern paper with the sentiments on it, I'm going to take the outline portion of the gold heart that we cut out, and I'm going to center the word adored right over the top here. Using my scissors, I'm going to fussy cut out my little heart. I like kind of slightly going under with the glue. It gives you a little wiggle room, but I'm going to go a little bit underneath my heart. Makes it easier when I die cut or when I fussy cut out. And I think that looks so pretty. It reminds me of a jewelry charm, like a locket. So that's why I thought we would keep this pretty simple to just accent my little locket piece. I have some gold twine here, and I'm gonna, good thing I used the double-sided tape to adhere my panel, because this way I could do a little tucking. But I'm going to use some double-sided tape on the end of my gold twine here, and then this way I can tuck it behind my panel and secure it directly on my card base here. We're just going to loop it around, and then for the end I'm going to take one of the foam squares and we'll secure that to the front of our card base. Just trim off the rest of the twine. I'm going to tie a very small bow. We'll just trim off the tails of this, and then we'll take our heart. I'm going to flip it over and add some foam squares behind here. And place that right over our little gold twine. Lovely. I'm going to use a glue dot to secure my gold bow. And I have the little sentiment from the ephemera pack that says "You are." So my sentiment was going to read "You are adored." But when I added it to my little gold heart, it just didn't look right to me. It took away from the charm of the card. So I ended up not using that. But I'm going to call this card done. I love the effect that this gives. I think it looks like a little locket. I think it's so pretty with that pretty pattern paper. Okay, we're going to make another sweet card for card number 3. I have a piece of white cardstock, and this is going to be my background. I'm using my blending tool that has some tumbled glass still on it, so I didn't even bother bringing out my Distress Oxide ink. I just used the ink that was on my blending tool, but did a little bit of shading on my panel. We're going to use all 4 donuts from the ephemera pack. Kind of figuring out my placement. Now here's where I did bring in that "You are" for this card. I'm going to use the sweet sentiment in the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp directly on that background panel using my Versamark ink. We're going to stamp that right on our panel, and then I'm going to go over it with some gold embossing powder. I think pinks and golds are just so pretty. Using my heat gun, we'll go ahead and melt our sweet. So my sentiment will read "You are sweet." I love donuts, and I love coloring them in and making them with cards, but eating them, they don't love me. Boy. Okay, I'm going to use some double-sided tape and adhere. I'm going to mat this panel on a piece of the pink cardstock that came in the kit. It's slightly smaller than my white panel here, so I have a little bit of a pink border. We'll just mat that on there. I'm going to use my glue to attach my blue donuts first. This is going to give me a little bit of wiggle room for my placement. Add that one on the bottom here. I did add foam tape behind my donuts. We're just going to remove the release paper and overlap both of these right next to our sentiment. Lovely. And now we're going to adjust our blue donuts here. We're going to move over this bottom one. Okay, we'll go ahead and add our first portion of the sentiment. It says "You are." Okay, we're going to flip this panel over. I already added some fun foam behind it. I did add the double-sided tape. We're just removing the release paper, and then this is going to go in the center of our card base. I love the softness of this card. And this card you don't need the kit to make. You can just use the ephemera pack, which is available individually over at the Spellbinder shop. Okay, I added a few sequins. And then I'm going to add a little bit of glitter with some White Blizzard Nouveau glitter drops, and that finishes off that card. Love those colors. Okay, we're going to move along to our next card. For our next card, card number 4, I love this pattern paper, and I love the vellum too. I thought it was so pretty. So I trimmed down a piece of vellum that was the same size as the blue portion on that pattern paper. I'm going to use my scoreboard and score a 1/4 inch mark on the very top of the piece, and then I'm just going to fold it over and reinforce that score line. Tried to find my bone folder, but I couldn't find it, so I just ended up using my hand, and it worked out just fine. Okay, this is going to go over the very top portion of my panel. It's going to slide right over the top. help securing that vellum. That way you don't see any of the adhesive behind it. I'm going to flip it over, add my double-sided tape all over the back here, and then we're going to go ahead and adhere this panel to our card base. And when I did score that a 1/4 inch, it moved that vellum up a little bit so you can still see that pretty blue paper behind. And so you have another stripe basically. Okay, we're going to use a couple more pieces of the die cuts. I'm going to use this little piece and adhere it to the circle piece there. Add a little dimension, and for my sentiment I used the word hello that came from the die cut pack. I think I'm going to place it right there on the bottom using some double-sided tape. And I think with the gold and the soft colors, this amount of embellishment was perfect. So we're going to leave it like that. And we're going to move along to card number 5. I think that's so pretty. Okay, for card number 5, oh, I have to use the balloon animal. Oh my goodness, it was so cute. So I'm going to die cut it out, and then all the layering pieces for it, both with the gold cardstock and with the yellow cardstock that came with this month's kit. So I have 2 doggies basically, but what I'm going to do is layer them together, offsetting them just a little bit so I have that gold peeking out of the yellow. I'm going to do that to all of them, and then using some foam squares I'm going to adhere my balloon animal layers to the places they need to be. Originally I was going to just use the yellow cardstock, and I thought I'm going to add some gold for a little extra shimmer. But we're just going to place the legs on the little balloon, and then the tail's already there, and then the facial portion is already there, and we just got to do the ear. So cute. I love this. I think if you were to do multiple colors it would be just adorable. I'm going to add glue behind the yellow cardstock and do the same thing, adhere that to the gold balloon animal. I'm offsetting it a little bit. And then I did also die cut out the word "Oh Joy" with the gold cardstock. Now, this was the butterfly that came in the die cut pack. If you punch out the little butterfly wings, it has their little hearts. So I'm going to use those. I'm not going to toss them. I thought they would be perfect little hearts for this card. This is a leftover strip of the pattern paper that we used from the previous card. I'm going to adhere that to the left of my card base. Once that's adhered, I'm going to find my scissors. I have them across the room, so I'm going to trim off the very top portion of my panel here. Okay, next I'm going to adhere my little doggy, just using our glue. I'm going to place them at the very end of that gold strip on this pattern paper. Once he's adhered, we're going to use the same glue and adhere our "Oh Joy." Lovely. Such a dainty sentiment too. I like that. Okay, once that's adhered, we're going to go ahead and add foam tape behind our little hearts. We're going to add 2 below the "Oh Joy," and then we'll add our last one right on the very top of it. Okay, now this could be great for a baby shower card too, or a birthday card, either or. I'm adding a little bit of sparkle with my Nuvo glitter drops. This is White Blizzard again. And then I did go over the little hearts also with that. But that finishes off card number 5. So now we get a look at all 5 cards that we made today. Part 2 is following this video. So on the very top will be the unboxing, and then the picture below will be part 2. If you want to click on that, it'll take you directly to the last 5 cards for the 10 card 1 kit video. So I had so much fun with this kit. I think it's so versatile. I love the colors. I think they're soft and pretty. And then the gold just adds extra sparkle. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I wish you a lovely day. We will see you again real soon. Bye bye.